Hello and welcome back to Neuropa City Zoo. So today's episode, we have actually a couple of time lapses, but we are starting off with a really quick one here just to throw together this lion habitat. So it ended up being quite simple, and we already had like the borders all put in previously, and the river was put in previously with the Africa habitat and all of that. So this ended up being very easy to put together, essentially just putting in as much foliage as the lions are happy with, and then eventually we're going to build a couple of rock fixtures as well, but for the most part it just is meant to be a bunch of open space for them to enjoy, a little bit of the river for them to swim in, and they can swim across the river and get to the other side. No problem. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think today's episode is going to be it ended up being a little bit shorter than normal. I wanted to do 2 habitat builds this episode, and I thought that was going to make it a lot longer than usual, but it ended up being a bit shorter. So hopefully you don't mind the shorter episodes. I know sometimes I like to watch shorter episodes anyway of these sorts of things. So yeah, this one ends up being a little bit of a shorter one. But yeah, this cave here, I threw it together obviously just with rocks. It's something that I'm still kind of working on a little bit, my skill with like using the rocks in the game to not look too fake, right? Like you don't want to just put the same rock like I did for the base, but also you don't want to spend, or at least I don't want to spend, a ridiculous amount of time placing rocks just to be able to make them look natural. I don't know. So I hope you like how this one turned out. I don't mind it. I could have probably put some plants in it and stuff to make it look a little bit better, but oh well, it is what it is. So here we're just, I figured that the barriers were too short. I think the lions could jump over them if they're less than 4 feet. So I had to kind of go through and redo everything here. And this part was a little bit tricky. I really wanted this to be one body of water, because that way I only have one water purifier for this whole thing. And it's really weird how this works. Because normally you can do barriers just over top of the water. If you place them, I think after you put the water in, but then it doesn't really let you put barriers over the water sometimes. So I don't know, I was fiddling around with it a bit and it ended up working out, so it was fine. They're all connected now, so we only have one water purifier for these 2 habitats. But this rock structure over here is also, this one's just a little platform for them to walk up on. I thought it would be kind of a cute idea just to fill up a little bit of space and I don't know, kind of Pride Rock-esque, but obviously significantly smaller. It was actually hard to get it proper so that they could actually walk up it, playing with heights and stuff. That's kind of what I do here. I have to do a bunch of adjustments and try to make it work, and then take a look at what they can traverse and then redo it over and over again. But in the end we got it so that they could at least kind of walk to the end, and I put a couple of enrichment items up there as well, you'll see in the real-time part, just to kind of encourage them to go up there. And yeah, the last thing that I do in this time lapse very quickly is add the pathway that goes kind of behind and the glass walls so the guests can view the habitat, but you're going to see all of that in a little bit more detail in the real-time part anyway, so let's just jump into that. Okay, and here is our lion habitat. Look at them in there. I think we're still waiting for I think the male one still needs to be delivered in there, but oh, look at this one scratching on the post. It's so fun. Oh, these cats they look so cool. So I think we ended up with, what did we put in here? 3 females and then 1 male, I believe. It ended up being almost easier to find good females that were albino or albinistic. So we've got 2 white ones, but I think they look really cool anyway. Why is my timber wolf gonna inbreed? What is happening? Oh, we've got a lot going on here. I think, yeah, he's headed to the habitat, and we've got some stressed. Why? What is happening? Okay, wait. Ravon. But now Ravon is expecting because we missed it. That's interesting. So our alpha female and our alpha male are related, I guess. Whatever. They're both elderly. I don't think they're gonna have too many cubs. Jeez, there ends up being a lot going on in these zoos once they get large. To do a lot of do a lot of management. But anyway, so yeah, this is just kind of, I mean, this was a pretty easy habitat. It's a very quick speed build, so it's pretty straightforward. I just thought it would be fun to do a couple of little caves, or one little cave and then one little like rock area that they can come and hop onto and maybe watch the, you know, other animals in the other habitat or whatever it might be. But I like how the gondola is going right through this one. I feel like that's got to be a really big bonus for taking the gondola, because it's not going through very many habitats, but it is going through that one. So the next thing that I want to do is, I think since that one was so short, we should have plenty of time to do at least start on another habitat over here, or at least do one part of the habitat over here. So I have a lot of ideas for what I want to do in this area back here. This is going to be like a tropical jungle-like area. I'm thinking a few habitats. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 different habitats, but like with mixed species in them, because I think I figured out a few good ones that we can mix together. So we'll have lots of animals over here, but I think maybe what we'll start with today, what would be a good one to start with? I don't really want to, we could start with this one, but then I would need to decorate the gondola station as well. So I'm thinking maybe let's start over here, and I think over here what I want to do is a lemur habitat. So the idea for this one is going to be, you know, maybe a bit of a treetop kind of wandering area. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to manage to film the entire thing in this episode without it being too long, but I suppose if I quit rambling and get on it, we will be able to get there a little bit quicker. So we ended up doing essentially just the basics of this habitat today. We'll have to go back through, I think what I want to do, so I have a plan for a few habitats back here that are all kind of similar theme, that tropical kind of very jungly sort of thing, and we'll have these walkways. You can see I'm starting here, kind of going through all, like over top of all of the habitats. So I think what I'm going to do is in the next, maybe even next episode, we might be able to finish the basics for all of them, kind of like the way we did for this habitat today. And then we'll worry about building on the, like buildings and stuff inside afterwards. I think that might be a good way to do it. So in this episode, we basically just, it's the very basics of the habitat. That's why this ended up being a little bit shorter than I had previously expected. But I like how it's looking so far. I think these kind of habitats are quite fun. We've got a nice big platform area there that's going to be eventually a building for or like at least kind of a hut sort of thing for the guests to be inside, and the pathway. I kind of did a little bit of a slope there for that path in the middle. I think I'm going to try to make it look like a rope bridge to go across these 2 different like platform treehouse things. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I was also thinking about maybe getting rid of the one path right in the center of the big one and putting one of those giant trees there that the lemurs can't climb, so that it kind of looks more like it's an actual treehouse. I'm not sure yet. I think we'll have to try that out in one of the coming up episodes. I don't know at this point yet if it's going to be next episode that we finish the buildings here, or if, like I said, we go and do the basics of all these habitats and then the buildings on all of them all at once. To be determined still. But either way, I think this is going to be a fun little addition to the back of the zoo. And I like the idea of having these kind of walk-through habitats where, you know, you're kind of in the air a little bit, but the monkeys, I guess the lemurs in this case, are also in the air as well, because they can climb up all these trees and stuff. So you kind of still get to see them like eye to eye, but you don't actually get to touch them. I know lemurs, you can do walk-through habitats, but I don't know, I kind of would rather them just be a little bit separate from the guests, and that way we don't have to worry about like habitat gates and that kind of thing, because I found those a little bit tough to do when you want to like go up and over habitats. You kind of need to, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You need to like have the entry, I guess, to the habitat on the ground, and then you can have the stairs go up. But then the lemurs can get up there if, like, people are eating and that kind of thing, which just, I don't know. I don't love it. So overall, I like these kind of, like, treetop style ones. And right here, I'm just building a little play house kind of thing, a little tree house for the lemurs themselves, right on the same level as that rope bridge, so that you can kind of, guests can sit there and see the lemurs right across from them, essentially. Like, they should be able to jump from here to the path, but for some reason they can't. So it seems very close, but it's not quite close enough for them to jump, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I think it just kind of makes a neat little like immersive experience for them. Hopefully they'll use this quite a bit. I know they have a pretty big habitat, but we're also going to get quite a few lemur babies, I'm sure, in the future. So hopefully they'll fill out this habitat a little bit more. They're very, I don't know, I kind of, a lot of the time, it's hard to like gauge how small these animals are sometimes until you like build this giant habitat for them and then put them in and you're like, wow, they're just gonna get lost in here. But the way I see it, it's always better to give them more space than not enough space. I mean, in the wild they would have, you know, as much space as they want, so I don't mind how this one turned out. And here I'm just kind of trying to put some like rope access because they can climb this palm tree, they can't climb the bigger trees, but I thought it would be fun to have kind of a rope that they can climb that tree and go over, though they can just climb right up the pillars on the sides of this building and get there that way. So it's not actually very difficult for them to get there. But I like to use the vines for just for access and keep checking there to make sure that they can climb around. And of course getting our new lemurs in. There they are. I actually love the lemurs in this game. I think they're really cute. And I think they have some good like climbing animations and stuff too, so that's always fun. I think the last thing that I'm going to do on camera, I put these vines in underneath just to make it look a little bit more jungly and wild and that kind of thing. I ended up doing it on the other side as well, and actually made it so they could climb it on the other side, like kind of connected them all together, but it was tedious, and I don't think it looks great on camera while I'm like kind of trying to like navigate underneath and like connect them together and that kind of thing. So I cut that part out, but I will show you in the real-time part what that looks like and kind of how they can climb around under there. And it worked out really well because they still can't get on the path, but they kind of have that extra climbing area anyway. And yeah, the last couple things here are just the enrichment items, and then off camera, I do all of the pathing and that kind of thing for that little viewing area up there. So yeah, I think it's about time just to jump into it. Okay, and here is our simple little lemur habitat. So we have, let's see, is everybody in here yet? Probably not. No, so I think I have one more female red lemur coming in and one more female ring-tailed lemur. I'm pretty sure I managed to get all of them that I needed. So there's going to be 2 males and 1 female for each of them. And I think they'll populate up this place pretty quickly. It's actually kind of hard to get lemurs in the trade center. I found that kind of interesting. But if we take a look at this one here, yeah, so we're looking good for habitat. Plants are actually not quite perfect. Why is that? Is there a plant in here that shouldn't be? Oh, there it is. Okay. Where is that one? Is that the one right by... Oh, it's probably the one right on the outside here. Oh, that's fine. Let's just get rid of it. Perfect. Well, I'll change that to something else. But yeah, so essentially, I mean, I kind of went over already. This part, still obviously work in progress. I'm hoping this will be kind of cool, treetop looking, treehouse looking kind of buildings eventually. But for now, I just added a bunch of, you know, bins and viewing devices for the guests so that we can make a little bit of money off of them in the meantime. Flamingo Falls is unhappy. It's okay. So we will have to just kind of wait and see what we get for population over here. Looks like we got a couple people up here, but they don't seem that interested. Not totally sure, but we have a couple of education things down here as well. So did I get a new educator? I didn't. Okay, so we need to hire an educator for this area, first of all. So let's do that quick. Let's hire an educator, put you right there. And we will assign you to, first of all, of course, we're going to pay you a little bit less, but that's okay. I think I called this tropical, yeah, tropical area. So there we go. So she'll be able to do both of those. Education points, one for the ring-tailed, one for the red-ruffed. I still don't really understand why we can't do more than one animal per talk point. I feel like we should definitely be able to, but I guess there's only so much we can do there. So let's add those guys to the work zone. There we go. And the other thing that I had added in, I'd filmed it, but I cut it out because it was way too like messed up to film. But I tried to be kind of strategic with the climbing possibilities for these guys. Let me find one so I can show the paths. Oh boy, little lemurs at a very big habitat. There we go. So if we go onto the traversable area, obviously they can climb a lot of these trees and stuff. And I think I did kind of show this one in the time lapse, although it might have been a little bit blurry on the speed, but essentially they can climb up to this place as well, which I thought would be a really nice viewpoint for the guests from here, so they can see the lemurs kind of playing up here. I put a few toys up here as well to hopefully encourage them to go up. I haven't seen any go up there yet, but hopefully they will. They can climb across these vines, or just straight up, I think. Or no, actually they can't quite climb straight. Oh, did you see him? Oh, that was pretty hard to see because we're in the heat map, but he actually just jumped from the roof over there to the box. Can we see him from down here? Oh no, he's climbing back down now. Okay, well, you know what, maybe that wasn't the best animation, but that's okay. At least they can make it. But similarly, I actually made this area under here kind of like a little jungle gym sort of thing. They can't actually get anywhere, but they can climb on all of those vines. So let's just grab you again. And hopefully, yeah, so essentially they can climb up this tree that's underneath here and climb up and along all of these vines as they please. I just thought that would be kind of a nice little, I mean, they didn't need more climbing space, but I thought that would be a nice little treat for them to be able to climb up under there. You can't even, the guests can't really see it. It's just for us. But yeah, I think that kind of covers today's episode. I think we built both the habitats. They're very simple habitats this episode. I think the exciting part is going to come when I actually put together the buildings to kind of create these tree houses. I still don't really know what I want to do with that. I know that I want to make this kind of look a bit more like a suspension bridge. It's hard to make suspension bridges with these pathways, but I think I can kind of do it if we just do sort of like a rope bridge sort of thing. I don't mind the supports that were auto-generated under here. I'm just not so sure about this concrete underneath. I think we might have to cover this in like logs, or maybe even these pieces or something like that. I'm not sure yet, and I might do that off camera just because that sounds like a very boring thing to show. But overall, this is all sheltered area under here, so they can kind of come and sleep, even though it's not totally enclosed in. I don't think they need that. They basically just need the shelter from like the rain. So that's kind of nice for them as well. But that is going to conclude today's episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. I know the habitats weren't like, normally we do some really exciting like building or like structural building in these episodes. This one was just kind of the lion habitat's really straightforward, and the lemur habitat is just the basis of it. We're going to have to do the buildings at a later time, but it's all going to tie in with the other tropical habitats. So I wanted to wait and make sure that we can do them all at once, essentially. We can do the, like, kind of cool treehouse buildy kind of thing for them all at once at the very end. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave me any comments, questions, suggestions you have in the comment section below. I love reading them. Let me know how I can make these videos better as well. Those are, that's something that I always like to know. I don't mind a little bit of good feedback in that regard. So I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will talk to you in the next episode.